smooth commuting.
We are listening to Calgarians and making sure we understand how precious their time is.
Turning to technology to improve traffic congestion and drive times. Plus, Calgary's livability ranking plummets. What's behind the drastic drop? And vole holes popping up in Calgary. Tips on removing the rodents before they tear up your yard.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla DiGiuseppe.
Good evening. The price at the pumps is starting to jump, and the main reason is the global risk due to fighting between Israel and Iran. Of course, it's only one of the factors impacting energy prices. Alicia Fieldberg looks at the potential impacts during the peak travel season.
The cost of fueling up is going up and is expected to keep rising due to growing tension in the Middle East.
It is possible that over the next week or two, gas prices could go up by anywhere from 5 to 15 cents a liter, depending on how exactly the situation in the Middle East continues to unfold.
Attacks between Israel and Iran elevate the risk of an impact to the amount of oil shipped from the area or produced by Iran. So companies try to brace by stockpiling oil now.
When you know it's going to be a rainy day, you don't wait for it to rain to get an umbrella. You leave with an umbrella. That's essentially what the energy markets are doing here, but that inherently increases demand immediately and sends oil prices higher.
Gas prices impact how some Calgarians choose to travel.
Probably walking to work, sometimes bike.
So I decided to get this bike and started using the bike because of gas prices, yeah.
And likely where they go as well. According to TD Research, 69% of Albertans are planning to travel within Canada this summer, with most people choosing BC and Alberta.
They're looking to visit small businesses and support them during the summer when they will be traveling, and staying close to home will be something that is important to them this year.
Plans likely influenced by the U.S. trade war, and the uncertainty with that is impacting energy too.
Trade wars and tariffs, that's an impediment to growth, which reduces oil consumption and can drive prices lower.
Many economists predicted tariffs could lead to a global recession, which could see oil drop to $66 a barrel, below the $68 a barrel used to determine the latest provincial budget. Alberta's finance minister says our budget set conservative assumptions, built in contingencies, and was focused on long-term stability. We're prepared to manage the uncertainty. Calgarians say they're also preparing for the ups and downs at the pumps.
Or we come down again and go up again, and I take the good with the bad.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
The average price of gas in Calgary is $1.31. According to Gas Buddy, prices could jump to $1.45 a liter over the next couple of weeks. Calgary's livability score is taking a tumble. That's according to annual rankings that looks at the top places to live in the world. Jordan Canigan has more on why Calgary is falling down the list.
It's a Stampede City slide. Calgary has fallen in a yearly ranking of best places to live in the world, moving from 5th last year to 18th this year.
It's one ranking. There's a lot of other rankings that talk about our affordability, talk about us as a global startup ecosystem. So we kind of look at them as the big picture.
The Economist Intelligence Unit compiles a list of 173 cities in the world looking at 5 categories: stability, culture and environment, education, infrastructure, and Calgary's score slid in the final consideration, healthcare.
What we hear from Albertans, including in Calgary, is they're worried about accessing the care they need when they need it. You know, they don't have a doctor, the service reductions in facilities, they're on wait lists for cancer care, for surgeries, for MRIs and other testing.
Every Canadian city saw a decline in healthcare for what the EIU says are strains in the country's National Health Service.
I think this provincial government has recognized that our healthcare system can be stronger. I think the federal government has recognized it as well.
Some Calgarians notice an overall decline too.
That's right. Everything else right now, the living cost, that's the biggest problem.
I don't think that's correct. I think Calgary is, to me, it should be number 1.
Copenhagen, Vienna, and Zurich took the top 3 worldwide spots. Calgary is still in the top 20 with high marks in the other categories.
We go out and survey North American business leaders and talent on their view on Calgary. And this year, 75% of all the talent and business leaders that we spoke to said they have a favorable view of our city and they understand the opportunity here in Calgary.
Jordan Cadigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Vancouver is the only Canadian city to crack the top 10, while Toronto ranked in 16th. The G7 summit is officially over, and now the focus turns to cleanup in Kananaskis. But before every security fence is dismantled and every officer leaves, some of the Albertans who worked the event want to reminisce about how a unique few days passed. Tim Brooke has more.
I almost hung up. I thought it was a prank.
That's the reaction tool shed owner Graham Sherman had when he was tapped to cook for the G7. Months later, he's still in shock and in need of a nap.
I was cooking for 3 days straight, all-nighters on the barbecue. So we got to see all the world leaders come through. We talked to them. They wanted to come check out the barbecues.
Sherman and his son grilled under the watchful eye of Canadian security and the Secret Service.
There is a 17-year Navy veteran that is in charge of watching over every piece of food that gets handed to the president.
He can't say if Donald Trump enjoyed or even ate his barbecue, but he now claims to know the president's food order.
What had to be ready at all times was shrimp cocktail and ice cream, spaghetti and meatballs.
Across the way, retailer Kananaskis Outfitters was cleared to stay open during the summit, though they didn't have much of a view.
We saw, support staff from all the G7 countries, some people that work for the UN, lots of the, Canadian security details.
And Tuesday, the shop received a visit from the Australian Prime Minister.
They just came in, they were like, their meetings were done, and they had a fun little shopping experience, so that was pretty cool.
23 years after meeting the Japanese leader, the Moose Family Kitchen owners weren't so lucky this summit.
It was a little bit more tighter, restricted access for us, being obviously the nature of the times right now.
Even still, those involved call it a worthwhile event.
For us to get that kind of exposure and have them there, and then hopefully we will see them back with their families.
But first, the controlled access zone around K Country is in effect until Thursday. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Kananaskis.
G7 authorities say no arrests or tickets were issued connected to the summit or any protests. All G7 airspace restrictions are now lifted, and you can check the Alberta Parks website for the status of trails and day use areas. The City of Calgary is turning to some high-tech solutions to address traffic safety. Drones, VR headsets, and AI are now being used at the Traffic Management Centre. The city says it's a first in Canada. The Alberta Motor Association has released a report that also used new technologies to identify high-risk intersections for drivers and pedestrians. Stephanie Thomas has more.
Officials at Calgary's Traffic Management Centre say no other Canadian city has modernized its traffic control systems like this. Technicians can use a virtual reality VR headset to control traffic flow in real time, and officials want to add more, especially in the core.
We are looking at expanding to 10 to 15 intersections next year, primarily around high pedestrian areas.
The city is also using drones to monitor traffic backups. Technicians here at the centre can change the lights to improve flow. AI is being used to collect data about usage. The mayor says all this helps improve traffic and road safety.
Anything we can do that helps people get around better, easier, and save time in their day, we're absolutely going to deploy every type of technology to make that happen.
It's also fairly cheap. The city spent $10,000 to get the technology integrated with its current system, which manages 1,300 intersections with 200 cameras. Each drone cost about $1,000 and weighs less than a sandwich. The Alberta Motor Association also used AI technology to complete a study about road safety. It identified high-risk near-miss incidents. Across Canada, there's more than one every day. In 7 months, it found 1 in every 770 pedestrians and 1 in every 500 cyclists were almost hit.
So that's where we encourage municipalities to use this real-time data, look at the situation of where these near misses, close calls, some of the perception issues that are reported by the community are real.
Calgarians want the roads to be safer for driving or otherwise.
Safety is the top priority, when crossing the street or when driving on the road.
Just more spaces where there aren't cars and only pedestrians, because cars and pedestrians shouldn't mix.
But I would say City of Calgary is maybe a bit better for the drivers.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Calgary.
Each year, thousands of Canadians become victims of fraud. It's a multi-million-dollar business, and with the use of artificial intelligence and technology, scammers' tactics are evolving. Now, Calgary police are warning the public of people impersonating officers and banks. Jacqueline Wilson reports.
Shock and embarrassment.
Clive Reynolds recounts the time he fell victim to a cryptocurrency scam after taking a call from what he thought was his bank.
He came in as a customer service call from CIBC, and somehow they said that they'd come across some money that I had invested with Bitcoin.
It was all fake, an elaborate plan to steal thousands from him. And he isn't the only one. Danielle Gaddis lost $18,000 after someone called impersonating her bank, claiming someone was in her account stealing money when it was them all along. They even instructed her to cut up her card and send a fake courier to get it.
It looked like the bank. It talked like the bank. The protocols they were giving me were from the bank. And then they provided me the courier name, the courier license plate, the make and model. Everything that I would think that if it was a crook that they wouldn't have provided.
Their experiences are far from rare. Last year, over 36,000 Canadians were victims of fraud, losing almost $650 million, according to the Anti-Fraud Centre. But what's new to Calgary police, scammers are now impersonating officers. This year, they've received over 30 reports, and victims have lost more than $43,000 combined. Like the fake bank calls, the fraudsters are making the caller ID appear as a Calgary police phone number.
If the person identifies them as a police officer, it's okay to ask them what's their full name, what's their badge number, where do they work, what is the case number that's associated with, and ask them to call them back. Then they can actually call the non-emergency line and just confirm all that data and information.
Police say they will never call or email and ask for financial information or money. As for Clive and Danielle, both are still working to get their money back.
I might even be losing my house. They drained me.
Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
Danielle is in with our first look at the weather, and you made a point. We have to emphasize how great tomorrow's going to be. That's Thursday.
And if you can enjoy it in any way, head outdoors from a window, because as beautiful as tomorrow is, we are looking at a very big game changer by Friday. 23 degrees as our daytime high for tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies. We may see a couple clouds creep in later in the afternoon, and the wind should be calm. So it's a beautiful day on tap for tomorrow. We have very heavy rain in store for us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In fact, so heavy it could cause some localized flooding and some big issues out there as well. So we'll talk more about that coming up.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Hundreds of women in Calgary will be getting a free handbag thanks to a fundraiser. The Women in Need Society has been asking people since Mother's Day to donate a gently used handbag filled with unopened items, from toothpaste to feminine hygiene products. Since the Handbags for Hearts campaign began, more than 500 bags have been dropped off. However, they are encouraging people to continue to donate.
We continue to receive them all throughout the year. So this wasn't a Mother's Day initiative. However, we continue to receive these and give them out throughout the year. So we anticipate being able to give out more closer to 800 this year.
Schmidt says the handbags can build confidence and empowerment for the women they serve. You can donate the gently used handbags at any WIN store in the city. He's a teenager who may give you greater confidence about the future. Next, how his mom's health condition inspired him to do some genetic editing research.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
A gas-burning generator operating in the garage has been determined as the cause of death of a carbon monoxide fatality in northeast Calgary. One male died at a home in Martindale, and a second male was rushed to hospital yesterday afternoon. Firefighters found dangerously high readings of carbon monoxide in the house, which appears to have no working CO alarms. Police say no foul play is suspected. 150 people were evacuated from the East Village Superstore when carbon monoxide alarms sounded this afternoon. Firefighters say elevated levels of CO were due to a compressor and idling trucks in the closed underground garage. Fans were brought in to clear the air. The death of a woman downtown on the weekend has been determined non-criminal by police. The woman died after police responded to a call for a woman in medical distress on 12th Avenue Southwest. And an autopsy in the suspicious death of a man in the northeast community of Pine Ridge remains undetermined after an autopsy. Police say more tests are needed. They were called to the scene on Sunday for reports of an assault. The man later died in hospital. A Calgary teen is on a mission to prevent genetic defects. Logan Sear is only in grade 11, but his goal is to one day come up with a treatment for newborn babies that could prevent a lifetime of challenges. Kevin Fleming reports.
He's looking at DNA attached to a kidney protein, and this is something that Logan Sear uses to identify genetic disorders. For the last 10 months, he's been passionate about biology.
A DNA mutation, it could either just be a mutation that makes the DNA not function as it otherwise would, that just occurs randomly and you just get unlucky.
Sear is looking to even the playing field through genetic editing, replacing a defective gene with one that works, and it could be used anywhere in the body.
If you could control how your brain develops during development, everyone would just have equally functional brains. Nobody would need to have like a memory disorder or be prone to Alzheimer's or anything like that that's just due to getting unlucky while you're developing. It could all just be streamlined and everyone would have the same chance at life.
He's focused on kidneys right now because his mom was born with just one, and that one failed in 2019. She's been in hospital since last November.
This is actually the 6th time she's gone in, and this time it was to get a new kidney, but it did not work, and she's been kind of put back, and after the incision she just hasn't fully recovered yet.
The 16-year-old is in grade 11 at the STEM Innovation Academy, but is one of close to 70 students at the Knowledge Society that's helping him reach his goals.
We are the top youth innovation program for students who are between the ages of 13 and 18 years old, still in high school or middle school, and we help students work on projects that they're really passionate about, excited about.
Sear says genetic research is advancing rapidly, and the work he's doing is extremely advanced. And he's focused because he wants to find solutions to help others.
I'd say every few hours you could search something up, and if it was the right thing on the right day, the answer would change depending to your search results, depending on the day.
Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
We've provided more information about the Knowledge Society on our website. Danielle's up next with her Skywatch forecast and another great day of sunshine, seasonal temperatures before the rain comes in.
Well, many communities in southern and central Alberta had an active day out there today. Overnight, we do have the potential for some thunderstorm activity, even in Calgary, but most likely what we're looking at in Calgary are isolated showers. Okay, longer term picture. This is what we're looking at here. You can see two lows, two cores right here. These systems are combining, so that may create a more intense system. It's also going to be a very slow mover, and that could result in a lot of intense rainfall for much of southern Alberta. Calgary included. Localized flooding may be an issue with this. I'm going to play through the futurecast here to just give you the idea. And again, for tonight, you can see these little pockets here. This is a look at 1:30 in the morning. We can get some isolated showers, potentially thunderstorm activity, but most likely these will just be showers. Then that really clears out. For tomorrow, beautiful day. Make the best of tomorrow, even if it's just from looking out your office window. Lots of sunshine, warm temperatures, winds should be relatively calm. And then this is Friday. So this is a look at Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and you can see the rain starting to move in. I'm going to just play this through so you can get an idea of this system and what it will likely do to Calgary and all of southern and parts of central Alberta. So it could be intense, widespread, long-term rainfall. 23 degrees for a high for tomorrow and mainly sunny again. That's why I make the best of it, because then we're looking at days of much cooler temperatures. So Friday, summer officially begins, and that's going to come with cooler temperatures, just a high of 14 for Friday, and 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. These amounts of rainfall for the forecast here on those higher levels, but I want to give you an indication of what's actually possible with this system that will be arriving. Okay, on Saturday, that should be the heaviest rain day, 50 to 75 millimeters of rain, so that's quite a short amount of time to see so much rainfall. So specifically on Saturday, localized flooding is definitely possible, and just a high of 10, and it will be windy as well. 13 on Sunday with about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain possible, and then this should taper off Monday morning, but we could still get another 3 millimeters tacked on to this. By Monday, a high of 14. If you want to see that longer range forecast to see when we'll be back to warmer weather, well, we'll get back into the 20s likely by Tuesday or at least Wednesday of next week.
Danielle, thanks so much. They are a menace, making holes and leaving a mess. How to know you have voles on your property and how experts suggest to get rid of them. They're small, sneaky, and showing up in Calgary yards. Voles are back, leaving homeowners dealing with the costly damage. Mark Villani reports.
It looks like a normal, healthy lawn until you look closer. These tiny golf ball-sized holes are being made by voles. Often mistaken for mice, the small rodents are underground intruders, carving out winding tracks and destroying greenery.
They had been eating the roots of the plants. And we lost roses and a number of other plants as well.
This year, yeah, we're having a lot of vole calls, more than usual.
It's why pest control technicians recommend setting up these strategic bait stations and getting them refilled every couple of months. When placed around your home, they're meant to feed voles with a dehydrating product.
And after that, they're going to keel over, they're going to die. And the good news is you're not going to see hundreds and hundreds of dead rodents on your property, because they will be dying underground.
But voles are a year-round issue. They're at their worst in the wintertime when they have months to feed off lawns under the protection of snow-covered insulation. Experts say it's why you should keep your lawn short, avoid fertilizing past the first week of July or so to keep grass naturally dormant heading into winter, and avoid other attractants like bird feeders.
Ultimately, it's clearing up plant material. It is, clearing up dead grasses.
And for homeowners who've dealt with voles before, it's all about staying vigilant year after year.
You have to maintain it, and you have to be aware that the little guys are there.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
And we've got more on how to prevent voles from entering your property on our website. That's it for us. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Good night.